I have this tattoo here. It's a heart, it's a light bulb, and a four-leaf clover. And it's kind of my creation formula as an entrepreneur.
In 2002, Kyle Martino's career got off to a bright start. That year, Kyle made his debut for the U.S. national team and won Major League Soccer's Rookie of the Year award. Years later, though, injuries cut that career short, forcing him to make a transition much sooner than he'd imagined. Now, 2 decades later, after years of broadcasting for networks like ESPN and NBC, Kyle has become a serial entrepreneur with one idea at the heart of all of his projects: sports as a tool for social change. Here's how Kyle Martino is making his next play.
I was 28 years old when I was in a doctor's office, and the recommendation was that I hang it up based off of the severity of my injuries. I'd love to say I had this great plan and I'd mapped it all out, but my plan, if I ever came up with one, was going to be as a 38-year-old, not as a 28-year-old. It was never the plan to go on TV.
There were a lot of times where we watched Liverpool and it was a bit frenetic.
It's quite remarkable how hard the job is to be good on camera, let alone cogent and interesting.
Running for U.S. president's been a few weeks under your belt now, so you've been able
In 2018, while working at NBC, Kyle also made a bid to become president of the U.S. Soccer Federation. It's a role that requires not only management of the senior national teams, but also the manner in which the sport is grown in the U.S. And though unsuccessful, Kyle's campaign for that role ultimately helped lead to where he is now.
I'm an accidental entrepreneur, and that running for U.S. soccer president demonstrated a lot of amazing parts of what's happened with the game in this country, but then highlighted a lot of really worrying gaps in the architecture of the game and the governance of it that has locked out a tremendous landscape of at-risk and incredible youth that need this game more than ever. This word access and sports equity, that was the North Star. That was the journey after the U.S. soccer election that I was on.
In 2019, alongside Foursquare co-founder Dennis Crowley, he launched the Street FC app, which allows users across the country to reserve slots and pick up soccer games. And among other projects, Kyle is also the founder of the Over Under Initiative, a nonprofit which converts public basketball courts and blacktops into multi-sport spaces, and serves as another example of how Kyle is dedicated to making participation in sports as easy as possible.
Well, it's important to me personally because sport has saved my life in many ways. You know, I've talked publicly about struggling with depression. Not only has sport been the greatest medicine, it's connected me with the network that provides leadership, role models, support, opportunities to a level of not only understanding ideas different than mine, backgrounds different than mine. My mental health is now a constant, conscious part of my daily routine. Sport is the greatest social empowerment, social justice vehicle on the planet. And the idea that there's a socioeconomic barrier to being able to enjoy it, not to mention many factors like hyperspecialization at a young age that are driving kids out of enjoying playing it. I just, at a molecular level, am against this idea that you can't access sport hyper-local in a spontaneous way and sample many as long as you possibly want.
Kyle's concern about access is supported by data. In September of last year, 24% of parents in the highest income brackets surveyed by the Aspen Institute said their child had resumed sports at a higher level than before COVID-19. But only 13 to 14% of kids from lower income brackets returned to sports at a higher level than before the pandemic.
A lot of things I'm doing is trying to design against the inertia of that terrible fact that's causing massive health and wellness issues for you. I'm taking the only instrument I know, if I have a PhD, I have it in what soccer can be and what it should be. And I'm trying to bring it to the communities in our country that need that beautiful gift the most.